Hello, it's Thursday night, and I am just checking to make sure. Yep, there we go. No problem. All right, I'm get a few people invited here. All right. I thought that I would have some things to work on while we were together tonight. So that is what I'm doing. Let's see, let me raise it up a little bit. There we go. If you're here, be sure and tell me that you can hear me. So I have a couple things to work on tonight. One is, this is the fermented honey garlic that I showed y'all last week. And I'm going to jar some of it up tonight. And then the other thing is, so all summer long, as I was harvesting tomatoes, I was putting them in gallon bags and putting them in the freezer. So now our whole upright freezer is filled with tomatoes. And a week from Saturday, I'm teaching a canning class. If there's still spots available on that. So if you'd like to come, it's on Eventbrite. I may have it linked from my website. If I don't, be sure and comment and let me know. But anyway, so I need to kind of do some run-throughs and make sure that I'm ready to go for my canning class. So what I'm doing is I'm going to do a batch of tomatoes, and I'll show you what I'm doing. So when you freeze the tomatoes like this, I just rinse them off, and I'll usually pop off the stem, and then when you thaw them out, they're all soft. Just like if I was doing them from fresh, you would have to blanch the tomatoes, and then the skin would come off. Well, when you freeze them, you don't have to blanch them. So the skin just comes right off. And then I kind of take this little core thing out on the side where the stem was. Then I just squeeze all the water out of it. Get that core out. There we go. I squeeze the water out of it. It's off camera a little bit. Here, how about there? And then I just put them all in here. And then I will cook them and, add salt and whatnot and get them ready to go and put them in cans. So for my purposes, I just can plain tomatoes. I don't make them into spaghetti sauce or salsa, nothing like that. I just do them as tomatoes, because that way I'm not committed for what I'm going to do with the tomatoes. I can just open up the jar of tomatoes and do whatever I want with them. So one challenge for the class anyway is I took these out to thaw last night, and they're still very, very cold, like to the point that it makes my fingers hurt. So I can tell for the class, I'm going to need to take the tomatoes out of the freezer probably midweek. I'm also trying to get an idea. This is actually 2 bags of the tomatoes. I'm trying to get an idea how much that turns into in cans so that I know how many bags I need to thaw out. So my sourdough classes that I've done, Those are kind of just me showing people, and then they can ask questions. But this one is going to be more like we're working on it together. So anyway, again, there are still spaces. So if you would like to come, I would love for you to come. Also, are there any new classes? Are there any classes I haven't done where it's something that you know that I know how to do that I could do in the new year? Because teaching these classes is fun. I always experience a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like, I do know how to do stuff, but I don't know that I'm all that good at it or anything. But I guess a lot of people don't know how to do stuff, so we can just work together. All right, who's on? How's your week been going? It's been a really big week out on the farm. Hey, Phyllis. So I'm going to publish a video about this later. Hey, PB. So who we have here on right now is my caretaker and my husband. When I have my surgery here in 2 months, we were discussing ways for them to let both my husband and my sister in. And we decided that we would refer to my sister as my caretaker, hoping that that would have them let me in. So anyway, out at the farm this week, I hired help. I had 3 men come from 8 in the morning until noon on Wednesday, and I had a whole list, like a list of things that would have taken me months to get done. Some things that I would never be physically able to do by myself, but some things I would be able to, but it would just take me forever. And so I had this list, and I mean, these guys chewed through that list. Like within the first hour, I was like, I've got to come up with more stuff for these guys to do. So I did. I added stuff. They got so much done. Everything looked so good. Of course, there's always more things to do, but it was really nice. I think I'm going to do that a couple of times a year now. These tomatoes, some of them are just really frozen on the inside. And man, it hurts. Give me frostbite doing tomatoes. So have you ever canned anything before? Have you ever pressure canned anything before? I canned a bunch of tomato soup when I was still having so many tomatoes. Hey, Brad. Well, what we're doing is I'm in preparation for my canning class, which is a week from tomorrow. And so I'm doing a run through of canning a batch of tomatoes. So I was explaining that as I harvested sauce tomatoes throughout the summer, I would let them get good and ripe, and then I would bag them up in gallon Ziploc bags and put them in the freezer. And then I was stockpiling them there. And that makes it to where you don't have to blanch them because the skin just comes right off. So I'm just taking the little core thing out, taking the skin off, and then squeezing the water into the sink. And then, yeah. And then we'll cook them into crushed tomatoes or whatnot. Brad, I was going to text you, but Shannon probably already told you. I smoked a tri-tip this morning, and I did so good. It was so good. I was so proud of myself. It was great. All right. The other thing I have that we'll work on when I'm done with this bag of tomatoes is jarring up this fermented honey garlic. So we talked about it a little bit last week, but you can either use it as like a medicinal thing, or you can use it in cooking. So all it is it's just garlic, and it's been sitting in honey for a month. And so the honey tastes like garlic, and the garlic tastes like honey. And you can use them in salad dressings or meat marinades or however you want to use them. So I will jar that up, and I'll be selling that because heaven knows I have a lot of that. And the other thing that will be happening over the next few days is I'm going to be infusing cinnamon into honey also. So I'll be taking this same kind of jar and then putting cinnamon sticks in it and letting it infuse for like a month. And that should be ready before Christmas also. So we'll have garlic honey and cinnamon honey, and we still have plenty of regular honey. So that's cool. So yesterday when I was working with the worker guys, they were stirring up a bunch of stuff, and so a little rat snake came out, and that was very exciting. But I knew pretty quick that it wasn't a bad snake or anything, but those guys were having none of it. They walked way around it. I would have thought that they probably encounter snakes in their work all the time, but evidently not. He was like, "Do you want me to kill it?" I'm like, no, it's a good snake. But he wanted no part of it. So they didn't kill it. I sent a picture to a friend, and he said that it looked like the snake was shedding. And I don't know how he knew that. It didn't look evident to me. But I do notice that like it just was staying in the same spot. So either it wasn't doing well, or they stay in one spot while they're shedding their skin. But let me see if I can remember everything that the guys did yesterday. So for one thing, the in-ground garden, I did a silage tarp covering up the in-ground garden, thinking that I would be able to develop that area a lot more quickly than I was able to. And silage tarps, it is really difficult to get them to where they won't blow around, especially in the higher winds. And so it was kind of sloppy looking because the tarps would blow around, and then weeds would grow where the tarps left the soil exposed. And so it just looked really messy. So I had them completely pick up all the silage tarps. I had them fold them, which these things are really heavy. I would never have been able to do that. I had them gather up all of the bricks that were trying in vain to hold down the silage tarps. And we gathered them all into one place, and then I ran the tractor over the undeveloped part of the in-ground garden and almost got the tractor stuck, managed to get it out, but because it was wet under there. When you have something covered up with a silage tarp, it stays pretty wet under there. So we got that done. I had them dig a trench to put some of the irrigation line that was on the edge of the in-ground garden so that I could mow over it, so that I could keep it looking nicer. Also, there were still 4 tomato beds that I hadn't cleared out in the raised bed garden. And tomato plants are hard to pull out because their roots just go everywhere. And it is a lot of work to pull those out. And 2 of the beds that still had tomato plants in them were taller beds. And so I can't get the leverage to get them out. Well, I had them clean those out, and they cleaned up weeds that were around it. It just looks so nice. And then also they mowed really well around the camper, which it was looking really bad, but they got got everything just looking so good. They also mowed the easement on the outside of my gate. And so basically my farm doesn't look like a forgotten mess anymore. Now, is there still stuff to do? Sure, always. Oh, they also completely cleaned up my fire pit. And so I think we need to have a fire pit. Oh, and we mowed, there were weeds probably 10 feet tall blocking off the entrance to the structure where trailers have been parked, including, I have a big trailer that I believe is intended to be able to transport my tractor, like to be able to pull my tractor behind a truck to go, mow somebody else's pasture or whatever. Well, it's just always been there. It's never moved the whole time I've owned the farm. Well, I got the idea recently that I want to, you can buy a 3-point hitch for behind the tractor that has a ball hitch on it. And I envision putting some bales of hay on this tractor, and people can sit on it, and I can pull it around with my tractor and take people on farm tours. How much fun would that be, going on a hayride? So I mowed to where I could get into that and look at it, and it looks like the tires are just fine. They haven't been exposed to the sun or anything, and so the tires are in good shape. So I ordered the 3-point hitch with credit card points, and it's actually on the front porch right now. It's marked heavy on the box, so I haven't brought it in yet, but I'll see how heavy it is after this. But I'm very excited. Yes, that's right, a nonsense farm hayride. And then we'll have a fire at the fire pit. So that'll be a lot of fun. So the things I have going in the garden right now. Oh, the next big thing, here, let me show you. I have 3 beds of sweet potatoes, and they are all going to be harvested this weekend. So if you know me in real life and you would like to have a supply of sweet potatoes at your house and you're free this weekend, you can come help me harvest sweet potatoes. Yeah, Brad. And you can take home as many as you want, and they'll keep well through the holidays, so you can have them for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then I'll keep as many as I want, and then we will take all the rest to a food pantry. That's what we do with sweet potatoes. So if anybody's free this weekend, I would love to see you. And all it is digging in the ground and digging up sweet potatoes. It's like a treasure hunt. And then also over there on the table, there's a couple of bowls of sweet peppers that are out there, and we're drowning in eggs right now. We have so many eggs. I have something like, 10 dozen or something eggs right now. I have 3 buckets sitting right there that I haven't even packaged up yet. And we are changing the packaging on our eggs, and they're very cute. Lisa, are you here? Because you are a big fan of the new packaging for the eggs. So what else is going on at the farm? Let's see. I've got broccoli, cauliflower, kale, cabbage. I've still got peppers in because it's still nice and warm. The basil is still, the basil is still going crazy. If you need basil and you're here near me, there's still lots of basil. So yeah. So in hiring that help, I think it was so productive for several reasons. One, just having help is, you're going to get more done when you have help. But there's more than just that. Have you ever heard of the concept of body doubling? That's where if you have something that you need to get done, even if you just have a friend just come and sit and watch you do it, for some reason that makes you more able to focus. And that's called body doubling. So I think there was an element of that. Like the guys were working, and so I was really focused on running the tractor and getting stuff done that I could get done, because I really felt compelled to maximize the time that they were there. And plus, so they were young men, and I'm a 60-year-old woman, but I didn't want to be lazy, you know? So anyway, there was that. And another element of why it was so productive was that even more than on a normal farm day, I had a very specific list of what I expected to get done. And I think that even if you don't have people coming to help, that is something that's going to make you more productive, is defining your work, you know? So I think there were a lot of things that went into Wednesday being so productive. I did shoot a video. Yeah, I'm not going to put that one in there. I did shoot a video, and that will come out over the next few days. I tried to film as many before and afters as I could, but I was in the midst of filming the befores, and the set of workers, they showed up 30 minutes early while I was filming the befores. Just squirted tomato juice on my cinnamon bag here. But so I'm not sure if I got all the befores, but you'll just have to trust me when I tell you that it looks so much better. Another thing that just happened at the farm, I had Sweet Shannon and my dear Celeste out with me on Saturday. We were trying to get through all the bees and check for mites. I think I talked about that last week. We wanted to get through everybody, and we almost got through everybody. But man, the bees were not at all happy. Shannon and I both got stung several times. Celeste did not. So I got stung on the lip, and that's something you don't want to replicate too often. But I actually bought a new bee suit, because the bee suit that I had, it was a very fancy bee suit, and it was expensive. But they had features like so your fencing veil, there was an extra zipper right here, so that say if you stepped away from the bees for a minute, you could unzip it, and the front of your veil would come out, so that you could say, get a drink or whatever. Well, it sounds good in theory, but I never actually used it. And all it was it created two beginnings of zippers right here. And at one point on Saturday, I looked, and this one had come up by about that much. It just leaves a vulnerability. So I bought another really highly rated bee suit, and this one does not have the extra zippers on the side. So, and it's supposed to be very good. A lot of guys that, you know, actually have businesses with beekeeping and stuff, which I guess technically I have a business with beekeeping, but you know what I mean. So hopefully this will do a better job. Oh, and I also made the decision. So right now there are 18 colonies of bees out at the farm, and I need 8 for my taxes. I have agricultural valuation on taxes, and with my amount of land, I need 8 colonies. I think I've decided I want to have no more than 10, because I clearly have quite enough honey. I don't need to have honey for the entire year. It's fine if I get it at harvest time and sell out. It's totally fine. And it just 18 hives is just a lot to get through at one time. It's just a lot. And especially I still, you know, work full time and everything. And I have other aspects of my farm. Like I just texted Cowboy Ryan today about getting some cattle when I get back from Australia in April. So, you know, I have cattle, I have the chickens, I have big gardens. I told you last week, I'm going to be drowning in blackberries this year. So there's just a lot. So 10 beehives is enough. And so that means that in the spring, when swarm season's over and I, finish making splits and everything, I'm just going to sell all the ones that were over 10. Like right now I have 18. So I don't want to sell them right now, because what if I have some losses over the winter? But my friend Celeste that I'm mentoring in beekeeping, I texted her to find out how many hives she wants to start with at her parents' land in Greenville. And I haven't heard back from her yet, but I would just like to give her however many hives she wants. However many she wants, she can have them. So that'll get her started, and that'll get a few of them out of my hair. So anyway, I love beekeeping. It is very, very physical. And I think also I would feel differently about it because I don't really mind the pain of getting stung by bees. That it only hurts for a couple minutes and it's really just fine. It's the fact that, on any given day, I could just get that fateful sting and I could have a really bad reaction. And, so I don't want to do that. But I do want 10 hives. I just don't want 18. Yeah. So that's what's going on in bee world. But speaking of that, I do still have a ton of honey here. See? So this towel, this is a seed mat, a warming mat, and then I bungee corded a towel around it, and that keeps the honey from being crystallized. And so that's why that's there. And then over here, you can see on the table, these are just the eggs that aren't packaged. I have a ton that are packaged in the refrigerator. Sweet peppers and tomatoes. I have some tomato plants that have started producing again, which is great. And then sweet potatoes. So all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. I calculated the other day how many days until my surgery. And it was something like 65 or something then. Let me do it again. Days until December 1. 60 days. 60 days. And I'm going to be gone 11 of those days because we're going to Fiji. So that only leaves not very many days, 49 days to actually get stuff done at the farm and shut it down. I have to figure out chicken care, and I'm going to just shut down all the garden beds. So yeah, always lots to do. So if you were going to hire help to do something, what would you hire help to do? Like what project could you hire help to have you make progress on? Does anybody have any ideas? Yeah, I'm not going to do that one. All right, look at how many tomatoes. This is 2 of these gallon Christmas lights. Well, that's right. You should hire someone to do your Christmas lights. It is bananas to do your own Christmas lights. Do not do your own Christmas lights. You must hire them out. And I don't know if my favorite company, Blingle, has any space for any Christmas lights, but if they did, that's who you should call. Yep, we sure did. All right, look, 2 gallons, and look, that's all the tomatoes that it made. Tomatoes are a lot of water. So once you get them down just to the meat, that's all it was. Yeah, we recently hired somebody for social media, and then we just hired someone for marketing. And these aren't employees. These are like, I guess, small companies that we hired. They're people that work as companies. So that'll be fun. Here's a few of the tomatoes that I peeled this morning before I went to work. So let me add those in. So let's see. This doesn't even get up to the 2-quart line. And this was 2 gallon bags. So yeah, it takes a lot of tomatoes to make some sauce. All right, now let's try and jar up this. Oh, here they are. So the jars that I have for this are just 4-ounce jars. And these jars will be good in 2 ways. One is, I don't know if people are that familiar with fermented honey garlic. And so just having a little bit of it, I think will be good. And also they are the jars that I have. And so that means I didn't have to buy new ones. So let's play around with this. Let's see. These jars are already washed for the record. It is garlic, garlic, garlic. So here in this big jar, the level's about half garlic and half honey. So I figure I'll fill it up halfway with garlic. These are 4 ounces. So like half a cup. This is a half gallon jar, and this is a 4 ounce jar. And this is organic garlic that was in here. I did not grow the garlic in this jar. No, you would not need to refrigerate it. It has been in fact, if you did refrigerate it, I think it would make it a little hard to use because it would make the honey pretty thick. And that is a question for My Dash Story. If you haven't checked out the YouTube channel My Dash Story, you really need to, especially the episode about Philip. That's my favorite one. I'm hoping the episode about me, that the sound was so messed up that they weren't able to use it. I'm ever hopeful. So how's everybody feeling about the world? I know I've got some people in my life that are feeling not great about the world right now. But I kind of think you're gonna see whatever you want to see. And you're not always going to agree with everything that's going on in the world. How are y'all feeling? Whoops. Can't get it in past there. There we go. These are the same jars that I used to work. Yeah, well, Brad, I agree with you on that. Brad says feeling great about God, not so much about the world, which I guess I can agree on that. These are the jars that I used for creamed honey a couple of years ago. That's why I have them. Well, I wasn't referring to the cowboy season. Oh, I just saw a headline. Well, Bob, I don't know if you were on, but I'm going to be making infused cinnamon honey next. And you might love that because I think it was the cinnamon creamed honey that you liked, right? Yeah. As I was saying, I saw a headline that Jerry Jones is like putting in a protest with the NFL about the Bad Bunny halftime performance. And that he's threatening something, I don't know. Anyway, so apparently Jerry Jones is not a big fan of Big Bunny and the halftime show. So there you go. I don't know that I'm a big fan of Big Bunny and the halftime show, but I'm probably not awake by the time the halftime show comes on, so I don't know why it matters. To me, anyway. Yes, no, I agree, Philip. All right. I wonder how messy this is going to be. Let's see. I don't want to pour more honey. I don't want to pour more garlic in because I already put garlic in this. Yeah, or hold on a second. The funnel wouldn't keep the garlic out. I could use this. Ow, sorry. There we go. All right. What do you think? I tell you, I don't care what you do with honey or how healthy you are. is going to be sticky. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it more than I can say. And I will see you next time. All right. Y'all go have a good evening. Bye.